Hello and welcome to the Mover segment here on TV3. Tonight, we're speaking to one of the most accomplished businessmen in the country. We're talking about the Chief Executive Officer of Bomarts Farms Limited, a company that was established in 1985 and later became incorporated in 2011 to produce and sell fresh pineapples and mangoes to the local and international markets. Tonight is my guest on the Mover segment. Hello, sir, and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Good to have you too.
How long have you been in business?
I've been in business for the past 31 years.
And what prompted you to get into this kind of business?
I got into fruits business because I started working with the Saum Cannery after graduating from the School of Administration in 1985 at the accounts office. And they had a scheme where workers who were interested were given the opportunity to farm and sell the farm produce to the company. And I had a chance to do pineapple, and I found it so profitable that I decided to go into it as my own business.
What did you study in school?
I studied business administration, accounting option.
And then later you had to shift into agriculture?
Yes, I'd had that in mind to become a farmer in future. I saw a lot of opportunity in farming because you realize that in Ghana, you have most of the people in farming, and it's easier to go into farming. It's also easier to export farm produce to Europe, where the competition is not as great as exporting manufactured products. And so that was why I decided to go into farming.
How difficult was it or easy to start that business?
I should quickly add this, that at the time I was working at the Saum Cannery, I also had an exchangee, if I can put it that way. We belong to a group called ISEC, which is the Association of International Students for Economics and Commerce. And he was doing his exchange program in Saum Cannery, and so it was the two of us who decided to go into this business. He is a Swiss, and he is still a shareholder of this business.
So you both had to raise some of the capital?
And the two of us raised the capital to start this business.
Do you remember how much you raised, for instance?
It's difficult to remember now, but the two of us started with about 7,500 sackets, which was about half an acre at the time.
So you first started on a small scale, and then subsequently you had to expand your network. How did you do that?
We started by growing and selling to Saum Cannery, and also selling to exporters who were buying from us and exporting to the EU.
From the Saum Cannery, and then you started exporting to the European markets?
Now, we weren't exporting then. We started our export only in 1998 after we had learned enough. And this is really very important.
Why did you decide to export to the European markets?
Because Europe consumes a lot of pineapple, and we had the opportunity because we have a Swiss as a shareholder, and he looked for the market for us.
So what's the shareholding structure? He's got majority or you've got majority?
No, he has 23%.
He's got 23% of shareholding, and you've got the rest?
Yeah.
I see. So that was the whole, that was a process of expanding into the EU market.
That's right.
I see. So you started off, first of all, by setting up this farm, which produces pineapples and mangoes. Farming is not exactly, a very thrilling venture. There are a lot of difficulties that come with farming here in Ghana. What has sustained you to this point?
In the first place, I see farming as a way of doing business, and you need to apply the business principles. Once you apply the business principles, the challenges will be there, just like in any other business, but you could overcome them. What
are some of the challenges that you've been confronted with over the years?
Yeah, as a farmer, there was a difficulty in raising enough capital, and so we had to expand gradually by plowing back profit. And then apart from that, getting land was also difficult. The problem in this country is that definition of land ownership does not exist. And so you acquire land from one family member, and then another family member comes and says, no, you did not contact me, and so the contract is null and void.
But you managed to acquire a 4,000 acre of land right here in Nsawam. How did you do that?
That is what I'm saying. I mean, you need to know who are involved and then get in touch with all of them, sit them down, and they all agree, and then you go forward.
And so you started with the plantation?
Yes.
I see.
But let me say that we didn't acquire the 4,000 acres just at a go.
Okay.
We started first with about 3 acres right here, and then we moved on to 45 acres, we moved on to 75 acres, and we moved gradually.
So then you started exporting to the European market. How did you come up with this factory?
This factory was set up way back in 2011. I had been visiting South Africa when we started the mango plantation, because the South Africans are really good in mango cultivation. And so that is where we learned mango cultivation. And during our visit, we realized that they were drying those mangoes, they were not able to export fresh. And so we decided to learn it because it was so fascinating and be able to do it in Ghana. And so that was where we learned our drying from.
It appears a multi-million-dollar facility. How much did it cost you?
The project cost us about $2 million.
$2 million. How did you fund that?
I should say that the external structure was built in 2004, and we were doing fresh pineapple packaging here. But when the MD2 came in, we were not getting supplies from around here, and so we were getting supplies only from our farm. And we decided to move the pack house there. And so this structure was already here. We had electricity supply already, and so we only had to bring in this factory, the internal one.
I see.
Yeah, so we didn't raise all the money at a go.
Are you able to, produce enough to feed the factory?
I should say that Bomarts supplies about 40% of our requirement. The remaining 60% we buy from farmers.
From the local market. And what's the pricing like?
The price depends on the supply. This year we started with 1 cedi 20 pesos. Sometimes you are able to get it at 1 cedi. And getting to the middle of the season, it moves up to about 1 cedi 50 pesos.
I see quite a number of workers here, and in my mind's eye, I can count over 50 workers alone. How many do you have?
At the peak, the factory takes about 250 workers.
250 workers?
We work 2 shifts, day and night shifts.
That's quite a huge number. Yeah. And you pay them?
We pay them.
How much?
The minimum wage here is 15 cedis per worker.
A day?
A day. Apart from that, you have your lunch, and then you have transport.
Oh, people must be very excited working for you. I see. So how do you hire your staff?
Mainly through adverts, the top staff. Through adverts, and then we get applications, we interview them, and we hire them. With the lower staff, we advertise, but they come in. Normally, we don't have formal interviews. We only find out your level of education and try to find out whether you are healthy, because this is a food processing company. And so we do the medicals, and if everything is okay, you are hired.
Coming in, I just met your daughter, who happens to be one of the workers. She's a food engineer right here in the factory. How much of support has your family been to this business?
My family has been very supportive. My wife is a nurse, and she's working as a company nurse. Because it's one of the requirements, especially if you want to be fair trade certified, and Bomarts is fair trade certified. Medical personnel, and my wife happens to be the resident medical personnel. At the moment, as I speak to you, he's at the farm. He goes around the three setups, the pineapple farm, the mango farm, and the processing company. My daughter is working with me here. She graduated from the University of Ghana 2 years ago. She did food engineering, and she is working here with us as the business development manager.
You've got other children as well?
I've got other children. I have 2 boys in the US. One studied aerospace engineering. He's working there, but we're trying to see if we can bring him back as part of our succession plan. The other one is doing logistics, he set up his own company. He will also come back and set up a logistics company here, and we shall outsource his services. The last born is a lady, and she is studying medicine in Ukraine.
In Ukraine. I see quite a huge family with well-accomplished people. So, I mean, I look at your story and it sounds quite encouraging and motivating for a lot of people who are watching at home. But you know, back here in our world, in Africa, one of the difficulties for most businesses has to do with succession planning. Is this something that has occupied your mind lately?
Yeah, for the last 5 years I've been thinking about succession planning, because when you look at the statistics, when you set up a company in Ghana, the statistics prove that the first year, about 30% of companies collapse in the first year. And then those who survive, by the 10th year, about 60% are off. Then in the generation, that is about 30 years later, those who survive, if you are not fortunate, they all collapse because of succession planning. And so we have been thinking about succession for the last 5 years. And fortunately, my kids were always working with me on the farm, and they are highly interested. And so we're trying to see how we can blend the family and the staff here.
All right, we're going to come back and find out what the future of your company is. I'm talking about the vision and what you hope for the company in the next 5 to 10 years. But you're watching the Mover segment here on the Business Focus. My name is Pakus Yasari, and this evening we're interviewing the Chief Executive Officer of Bomarts Farm Limited. They're the producers of pineapples and mangoes and mainly export to the European market. Sir, let's talk a bit about, before we talk about the future of your company, let's talk about the European Union, where you mostly export your pineapples and mangoes to. We have the Economic Partnership Agreement, which is very soon going to expire. Africa, ECOWAS, has to sign on to this pact, or would have a lot of these companies that export to the European market have to pay high duty-frees and quotas on the goods that they export to the market. Are you worried that Ghana as a country has, as of yet, not signed onto the EPA?
Yes, Bomarts is highly worried because we have a lot of competition, especially from South America and also other producing countries. And if we should not sign, the implication is that the EU is going to slap duties on our products, and this is going to increase the prices and make our products not competitive. And that means we might lose our market. And so I'm really worried about this.
Beyond just being worried, what have your association, what have you done to pile pressure on government to ensure that this, agreement is signed?
The export community has been having meetings with the government. We've had meetings with the Minister of Trade, the Foreign Minister, and then the Chief of Staff. They all give the assurances that the EPA will be signed. Yes, it will be signed, but how timeously? Because time is of the essence here. By 1st October, if we have not signed, we're going to pay duties. The government may sign, but it might be too late, because if they are thinking of October, they should realize that the EU Parliament has its own sessions. And so you must sign on time for the Parliament to sit on it and get it working. If you think you are waiting till 1st October, it might be too late.
What's the future of your business?
We have plans for the future. We are thinking of adding more value to what we're doing. At the moment, we are only processing into dried fruits, but we are thinking of using the dried fruits for other products, which of course I cannot talk about until it comes onto the market. We're also thinking of expanding the pineapple farm and going into drip irrigation. At the moment, we are doing a sprinkler irrigation, which is not helping us much because of the unpredictability of the rains. Sprinkler uses a lot of water, and in most cases, by February, we are short of water. With drip irrigation, water usage is very efficient, and so we can go through the dry period and continue to produce very good fruits. And we're thinking that by September this year, we should be able to start the drip irrigation.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. pleasure to have you. Well, that's how we conclude the Mover segment here on TV3. We've been speaking to the CEO of Bomarts Farms Limited. They are producers of mangoes and pineapples onto the European market. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you same time next week.